So, unvarnished, undrugged, still drinking my coffee first thing in the morning out of my lovely Love After Lockup coffee cup. I had to clear up a few things this morning. I had to clarify. I got up this morning, everybody was going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, she's saying shit about you. Hey, JC. Hey, me, Mermaid. Hey, Pearl Girl. Hey, everybody. Hillbilly Liz, Aaron, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm still trying to wake up. Like I said, I haven't taken any of my pills yet this morning. I'm just like, I woke up this morning, everybody's PMing me saying, did you see this? Did you see this? Apparently, Katie Joy took after me last night. Pretty understandably, because yesterday I was pretty incredibly, hey, small town Jewel Star Lily. I took after her yesterday. I was pretty mad because why was I mad? Because I'm watching her spin and say, oh, Friday's coming. You guys are all going to eat your words. And thinking it's just like the time she said she was going to explode the bomb. And she claimed she didn't know me, but we talked for hours and hours and hours and hours. I've never met her. That's the thing I want to say. That's why I'm coming on. I have never met KJ in real life. I've never made that claim. For her to say that I made that claim is just BS. We talked for hours and hours. When her son had his open heart surgery so that he could breathe, well, so he could get oxygen, she was PMing me during that, and I was saying, I'm glad he's better. You know, we talked about her son quite a bit because I'd been through similar things with my daughter, and that was where we started talking. On because of Patheos, we ended up talking about her son. And until May of 2020, we still talked until she stood me up, and then everybody else pointed out she was plagiarizing content. So that's the reality of it. She did know me. She claims she doesn't. Hey, Maria. So, yeah, Aaron, I've never met her. I've never said that I've met her in person. She's making that claim now that I've said that. I didn't say it yesterday. I didn't say it any other time. I've never met her. I've been very specific about that. It was strictly in Facebook Messenger. Look, Kitty is this morning. It's one of those mornings. We did work together. And I think that some people think that working together means that you're in the same building and you know each other and all of that. But no, Patheos was strictly an online writing platform. You got to know each other through your writing, through whatever emails you exchanged, whatever messenger things you used. And I did talk to her quite a bit on Facebook. She's going to claim otherwise. But I even posted our last conversation that was lengthy on my personal blog because I knew she was going to claim this. So she's claiming that I'm crazy, that she doesn't know who I am. She once said, my good friend Suzanne, repeatedly on her channel, while she was taking my content and using it. So there it goes. It was a work online relationship. My sister had a few people on her team that report to her for a few years now that she never met in person. All remote employees. Well, small town Jules, small mercies in, I guess. So she's doing that. I understand that somebody has been out there sharing my email, which really makes me laugh because that email address is strictly related to NLQ now. It does not go with anything that I do. So I may just shut it down here soon. Here we are on the Friday where she said she was going to make popcorn so she'd see what we were all doing. I'm guessing that the thing she was thinking that she was saying we're all doing was she was going to talk crap about us. To recap, I knew we're only online. We did talk quite a bit in Messenger. Not as much after she left Patheos, much less after she left Patheos. But right up until she left, we talked on a regular basis. Especially at the beginning. Oh my God, did we? When her son was going through his open heart surgery. And that was a scary thing. And I thought at the time it was kind of odd that she was PMing me about that because we hadn't known each other that long at that point. So Friday came and Friday's here and there's nothing. I even just checked my email box, my public email box. There's nothing there. And everybody else I talked to, nobody's been served. Nobody even got a PM to cease and desist. So I guess this Friday bombshell that she was going to drop either hasn't happened or it fizzled out. They were saying on Reddit yesterday that her attorneys had fired her. She was without an attorney, except for one. And I don't know anything about that. I could not verify that either way, and I tried. I looked at the comments they were talking about that justified that, and I'm not seeing anything that really, maybe the comments are down. But they're saying that her attorneys fired her, that she only has one attorney now. It's the same one she's had. She's always been full of empty threats, and she's always made this claim that everybody is stalking her and that sending death threats and various things. I don't think any of that is going on. I think she's just provoked so many people. Again, my giant list of everybody she's fighting with that I started putting together after I started thinking about like 6 or 8 months ago, and I've had to steadily add people to this list. I'm out of room now. I'm going to have to put a second sheet on this, but this was just for my own reminders because I don't always remember everything. So she's going to claim that we've never talked, that she doesn't know me, and I have all the screen caps on my personal blog. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link to all that in the description here. This is definitely her MO, everything that she's doing. I heard that, but somebody said it wasn't true. So who knows? Friday came and went. It's Friday. Come on, KJ. Won't do any good. I got a gate up there that's locked. I don't let anybody in. It's COVID, honey. I mean, it is really, really, really a pandemic. I go nowhere. I don't open the gate unless it's a grocery delivery or a workman. And I am supposed to get workmen today. They got to finish up what they started yesterday with the water. And I have water again. Taking a shower was the best thing ever. Erin, this mug came from Splendor in the Trash. She's an Etsy artist that does crazy love after lockup stuff. I saw the mug and it was like, I have to have this because John and his sister squaws just made me laugh the hardest. She was kind of hyping up and then nothing happens. The Tati dismissal showed me she doesn't know the difference between big news and BS. No, well, if she knew the difference between big news and BS, she wouldn't be in the hurt she's in now with her Chrisley and the rest of them. She goes just after the big news, or what she thinks is big news, to get the hit numbers. Now, I understand that is a business model, that TMZ does the same thing, but I don't think it's a good, sustainable business model. It's a good, sustainable business model for TMZ because they do all the celebrities, and they're in LA. They have access to that. Hiding behind your computer in Minnesota does not give you access to the same people. I don't care who you're emailing. So I did not meet her. I've never claimed that. She's lying. I didn't know her through Patheos, through our many hours of Facebook Messenger conversations, which I will link to the last one I had with her before all this went down. She worked there. She left under not sterling circumstances. That's all. I can prove all of that. Read into the early business model. It's nasty. Oh, for TMZ, I'll have to do that. I know that Harvey Levin is kind of beloved and hated, but mostly hated and feared. Ginger, I'm blocked from her on Twitter, and I never quite understand that. I didn't have her blocked, but after I saw she blocked me, I was like, okay, block. And I I have a fair amount of people blocked on Twitter because sometimes it just becomes overwhelming. I had to learn that with Messenger, with Katie Joy and others. I blocked a ton of people back when I started talking about Hillsong and some of the things that they did, and not just Hillsong, but the worst one was Bethel. Bethel and Steven Anderson's followers are not very nice people, and they were PMing me all kinds of stuff. Right around the same time I was dealing with Katie Joy, the November 2019, where she was stressing me out with all of her questions about the Duggars, and I just blocked her ass for a while because ain't nobody got time for that. And it was really starting to stress me out between her, the people from Bethel, and the Anderson people that were all PMing me like mad. I just went ahead and turned I didn't have Twitter then. I turned my Messenger off. I didn't have Twitter until 2020. And then my first Twitter account, I firebombed it and left because I thought I was going to stay off, but I found I missed it. Within the month, I set up a different Twitter. So that's the reality. Splendor of the Trash. She has amazing colors. Pearl Girl, I asked for one for Christmas. I didn't get it. I was so disappointed. But I'm going to order one the next time she has one. Oh, Aaron, that would be awesome. Just looking. Well, a lot of us are blocked. I'm only blocked on Instagram, not Twitter yet. Aaron, I'm really shocked. What was up with Bethel, Star Lily? The thing that was up with Bethel was Olive Heiligenthal. I think that's her name. She's the daughter, my 2-year-old daughter of the worship leaders that died suddenly. And the church, they wouldn't release the body. I understand. They were praying over Olive to try and have her resurrected. And the state of California actually has some really strict guidelines about when you have to be embalmed, when the medical examiner has to have your body, all that stuff. And apparently Bethel was kind of ignoring all that. And Bethel has this thing, and I guarantee I have to put a link. Bethel has this thing called the Death Raising Team. They have t-shirts and everything. They're all like, in their picture. And they were all praying for Olive to be resurrected. Well, to be brought back to life, death raised. And while I think that that's a possibility in this life, I mean, Jesus did it. I'm not going to say that I'm going to believe that a team of guys from that church is going to be the ones to bring somebody around alive. We're bragging on it. The block button is beautiful. So because, they made a series out of it. Oh, I got to watch that, Aaron. I haven't seen that. So it was tragic. And my heart goes out to the mother and the father, because that would be the worst thing in the world, is seeing a small child. But at the same time, I look at that and I'm just like, nope. So I was reporting on what they're believing. And then when Sean Fauch, is that Fauch? I don't know how you pronounce his last name, started doing, once COVID started, he started doing these, I'm going to call them plague rat concerts, because he was ignoring like all the orders not to gather, and he was having this huge worship concerts for free in parks and under bridges and all kinds of crazy crap all throughout the U.S. and trying to say that COVID was not a big thing, that you didn't get it if you were running around with Jesus. Well, I got the news for you. I know a lot of people who've had it, who are all in the church and running around saying that the vaccine is some kind of government plot that puts microchips in you for Bill Gates, I guess. And I'm watching so many people that I know that are good Christians catch it, and some of them are dying. It's probably seemed suspicious with it being so new and small. I completely understand blocking a new account. Sadly, I don't get to see Elrod. I'm sorry. The death raising team failed to resurrect the 2-year-old in 2019 when I first heard about them. Mind blown that these people do that. Mermaid, I used to go to a church that was affiliated with Bethel that believed that nonsense. I was kind of on the fence the whole time that they were teaching this, saying, well, I don't really know. I don't know if that's really true or not. Cindy Kunzman has a blog called, what is her blog called? Of course, I'm having senioritis again. Under Much Grace. I knew I would come up with it eventually. She and I have gone through some of the same things and some of the same teachings. We're actually good friends in real life. We've met, unlike KJ. And we've discussed Pigs in the Parlor. That's a popular book they force you to read. And the whole healing ministry thing that Bethel and many other churches have, where they insist that you do this a certain way and you'll get healed. You don't get healed, and it's obviously some secret sin you've got, or some family curse, generational curses, or maybe you're not in the right frame of mind. Maybe Jesus means for you to be sick like this to teach you something. Just lots of shaming and blaming crazy crap. Aaron, yeah, I love Elrod too. I don't really know. No worries. Everybody needs to be careful out there. Ginger, you right about that. I block less new people than some of the other people on Twitter because not everybody is a troll. Now, if I had an account come up the other day, it said Corinne something numbers, and they only followed me and they only followed KJ. They only followed the two accounts. And I thought that was kind of suspicious. And I also knew that name had been used as a sock puppet by somebody on her team. I'm not going to say who because I don't really know who it is. I'm not going to allegedly used by somebody on her team. My opinion is that it was someone on her team probably. So I just blocked him. Ain't nobody got time for that. I am sick to death of talking about this woman. Every time these things happen and I end up talking about her, I just feel like vomiting because it's just ridiculous. Like I said, I was just going to go over again what I know about her, and that's not much. If this, you blocked me, oh, Ginger, who are you? And I'll unblock you. I got somebody that I blocked that I wasn't. I had a couple of people I blocked, but later I found who they were. I was like, oh, I got to unblock you. And one who comes here sometimes, I've had trouble unblocking her. I've unblocked her, and she says, you still got me blocked. I said, no, I don't. I unblocked you. I don't know why it's still showing that way. So to recap, for anybody coming in new, I never met KJ. I never said that I met KJ. I know her online. We talked a lot. I have our very last conversation. We talked quite a bit in Messenger. So for her to say she didn't know who I was is disingenuous BS, because she was pointed to me when she came onto Patheos as one of the old hands there that could help out if you had a problem. I've functioned in that role for a number of people at Patheos. So she was at Patheos less than a year. I talked to her the majority of the time when she was at Patheos. I've talked to her off and on since. There's times when I blocked her because she's come just way too much, just too extra, particularly when she's ranting about the Duckers and trying to get Duggar information. I discovered after her standing me up in May that she had used and misused some of my content from my Patheos column. So that is the crux of my dislike of her. I can prove all of these things. I have messengers. I have all sorts of things. I tried to broker peace with her recently just to say, let's stand down and back off. And she attacked me and accused me of all sorts of crazy things that I did not do. So now she's accusing me of more crazy things. So I thought I would come on here this morning and say, no, I don't know her in flesh to flesh. I've never met her that way. So if she wants to say she doesn't know who I am, so she's suing me because I'm some kind of stalker. No, I'm somebody that she has screwed over. Like most everybody on this list. She's done something too in some way, shape, or form. Todd Chrisley, if you're listening, you talked about a class action lawsuit. I was against that. Now I'm for it. I've been flipped over. She flipped me over, and now she's been talking about me. So sign me up. If you're doing a class action, sign me up. Sign me up, because I can prove everything I'm saying here. I have messages, the whole 9 yards. Small town Jewel. I think she takes little things that happen and blow them up and embellishes them. Yeah, that's exactly her style. That is what she does. Sheila, I was just saying that she's lying about me again. She said that I claimed that I met her. I never claimed that anywhere, ever, ever, ever. I did work with her. It was remote work. We talked a tremendous amount. That's about it. Small town Jewel, I think that what Erin said is right. I've seen her do this with the Duggars, particularly when there's times that she's questioned me about the Duggars and questioned my veracity and because both of us, in reality, we both got messages from people claiming to be unnamed Duggar insiders. There was a big difference. I tried to verify before I wrote anything because I don't want anybody suing me for defamation. So if I could verify what was said in some way, shape, or form, I usually used it. Once or twice, I fell in the trap of not. And people will let you know when you've really screwed up. I'm interested in cults for a long time before she was even born. That is why I found her. However, I much prefer Suzanne's knowledge and experience. Ginger Lee, yeah. Oh, she was coming for me on Twitter last night hard. And I think it's because I said, hey, if you're going to sue me, go ahead, go ahead. But it better be an in-person service because I'm not responding to anything through Messenger or emailed. I generally do not respond to any legal threats via email. I mean, that normally is not something I do unless the person is super crazy. If they're super crazy, then I may respond. So anyway, that's what's going on here. That's the extent of it. I am now her newest target. I'm up there with AZ and everybody else she doesn't like. I don't know. I don't know how true that is either, Erin. I mean, supposedly defaming her. And like I said, I never said that I had ever met her in real life. I never said that. I worked with her remotely. We talked a lot in Messenger. I have our last set of messages, and you're welcome to read those on my blog. They show that we had been talking for quite some time, and it wasn't just a random me sending her stuff. The funny thing is 99.99% of that conversation was her complaining about Steve, Sherelle, and others that were, quote, defaming her, that she was going to sue. That she said Steve was stalking her. She made references to him doing or saying something sexual to her. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Just looking, that's the safest way to do it. Watch her from other channels. Yeah, Mermaid, I think I'm kind of done with her because I always say this, every 6 or 8 weeks I say, I'm done with this woman. I just don't want to talk about her anymore. I don't want to think about her. I don't want her to have space in my head. But at the same time, when she starts yelling and screeching, Sheila, that's a good question. How can we be defaming her? We're using her own words. In her mind, we're defaming her, I guess. I'm sorry, I don't have much more info. It just seems it's stupid to me. Pay attention, yeah. Erin, I heard a couple things about that. I don't know. Ginger, same. I have zero respect for women who fake Me Too. I have no respect for that, especially having been a victim of that myself in my lifetime. I've talked about that before. I was molested from years 7 to 9 by the family dentist. And as a young woman, as a young, thin, good-looking woman, until I was probably somewhere in my 40s, I would routinely get Me Too'd, where I'd have guys in positions of power that would try crap. Far less after I got married and they knew I was married and I would take some kind of action. But up until that point, it was a never floating sea of crazy. That's what I was trying to tell my youngest daughter by showing her Mad Men one time. She was talking about how it is in her office. Is like, look, it used to not be like that. It used to be really bad. Men used to do all kinds of crazy things. Sheila, it is what it is. I can actually talk about it without even a bit of anything. I feel nothing about that now. It's been too many years. I found out later that my aunt, who's a couple of years older than me, that lived with us, also had that same experience with the same dentist. And I found others who have, and we were in a group together. So there's that. He was a serial predator that preyed on anybody, any young person in the New Orleans area that was from a troubled home that didn't have a lot of resources. He preyed on all of us. For generations, women have fought and clawed our way to get any type of recognition, respect for our experiences. Fought for all the women, all people, plus equality. Yes, Ginger, and that's what blows my mind about the whole thing with her and her using that. Yeah, a lot of us have experienced that. And either it wrecks you or you deal with it and you get over it. I've been able to get over it. It did wreck my life for some years, and I did some things that were straight out of the survivor's handbook of this is how you act afterwards. I did a lot of that. Yeah, I've healed and found closure, Sheila, because of lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of therapy. He's dead now. And I had to laugh because one of the things that led to my healing was Katrina happened. Katrina happened, and there was a building on the LSU Medical School campus named for him. Guess what? It was utterly destroyed in Katrina. Normally, I'm upset when something's destroyed in a hurricane, but not that time. That time I was like, yes, thank you, God. You know, if you're going to destroy something, you can destroy a building on a medical campus named after this idiot. So he's dead. He's dead, and that helped a lot. Mother Nature did have my back, and I was really thrilled about that, even though Katrina was possibly one of the hardest times of my life. And that's what I want to say, that's the hardest thing about her doing these attacks now, even though I've just been trying to report on the Todd Grizzly age is fine. So I've got that. So I'm dealing with that. And I'm going to tell you, when you have any kind of brain injury, fatigue, I'm sorry, and I'm dealing with the flu. It will not lift. I'm dealing with a fatigue beyond fatigue. I have a small amount of time every morning, that day that I have where I can run around and do stuff. So I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with the fact that Hurricane Ida just happened. And I have relatives in the New Orleans area now that don't have electricity or air conditioning, and they won't have it for 3 or 4 weeks, they're saying. And they're having to deal with record heat in that. So I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with behind the scenes on that, with trying to get somebody here and somebody there, and talking to people and trying to make sure that my aged mother is okay. I'm dealing with all of that behind the scenes. So that's kind of a stressor big time right now. I'm getting ready to go back to the States to a family member's home. I found out that family member is going to be hosting a lot of the New Orleans area crew. So the crew she's hosting is somebody that, while I love them and they are family members, they're somewhat problematic in how they behave. And I'm going to have a come to Jesus with them when I'm down there, and I'm not looking forward to it. So that's a stressor, just thinking about all of that. So I've got that. I've got my stroke. I've got travel. Travel has gotten so weird since COVID struck. I've got that. I've got to contact now. I got to contact the airline and make sure they have my ADA accommodations, because the highly polished floor of the airport is another place that I have lots of difficulty walking, to the point where I think I'm going to get a walker specifically for the airports. I don't mind walking it, but I have to have balance. Aaron, yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. A lot of us are from families where we don't always We don't always agree with all of them. My family in Louisiana is not doing well. Everybody south of Baton Rouge is not doing well. Everybody Baton Rouge and northwards is fine. We've had some family members move out of the New Orleans area after Katrina, and they're scattered to the four winds, but we still have a core of people that will not leave New Orleans area for anything, for any amount of money. I had an aunt that lived 3 blocks from where the 13th Street Canal levee collapsed during Katrina. How much did she not leave? She lived up in the upstairs of her ruined house there for eons until they finally got the lower half remodeled. It was just crazy. Oh, just continue to send money or help to the Red Cross. They're in there doing work. Make sure you've got your doc right when you have a prescription of the walker. Mine was covered by insurance. Oh, $7. Erin, I think I'm going to not do that, though. I think I have a specific one in mind that's more ideal for balance than the traditional four-wheel ones. I've got one that's got like the wheel in the front, and it's a three-wheeler, and I think that would be better. I'm experimenting with heights now. I think I'm going to get one that can do like this because I'm perfect with a shopping cart. So I think I'd be perfect with that kind of walker with the high handles because I can balance if I'm hanging on to stuff. And I've discovered sometimes if I have something in each hand, I'm okay. I know that's crazy too. So there's that. So I'm going to try and get a prescription. And I try to do what I can. I mean, when I go to the grocery store, wherever, I park all the way out and walk in. Because I know that the more walking on paved surfaces I do that are not slippery, the more I'll recover. So I'm trying my damnedest to do that. So I may do that. I may call Blue Cross when I'm in the States and say, hey, what's the deal here? And see if they'll cover it. Because if I can get a prescription and have them cover it, that would be awesome. If they don't cover it, oh well, I priced them out. They're not outrageous. I can easily afford to buy a walker. So there's that. So the thing with the family is really stressful. I'm watching this Afghanistan thing and freaking out and stressing over that. So there's just things going on. I'm watching the flooding in the Northeast where they're not used to hurricanes. They're not used to flooding. They're not used to dealing with tornadoes and flooding and all the horrible things that come with hurricanes. They're just not used to it. And I'm watching that. My heart is broken. So here's the thing I really wanted to say to her and to everybody else. There's enough really bad things going on in this world for all of us that the last thing we should be doing is running around and threatening everybody with lawsuits. It's just ridiculous. I think Todd Chrisley he definitely has a defamation case, I think, because she's accused him of being gay. And we just don't talk about people's sexuality. Whatever their sexuality is, whatever they claim their sexuality is, that's really their business. That's not ours. It would be different if he had put up a big sign and said, I'm this, I'm that, whatever, but he didn't. He only started talking about sexuality when gossiping bloggers started accusing him of being a differing sexuality than what he claims. So there's that. They should just leave him alone. They need to leave him alone. When she started saying that he had manipulated his daughter with a sex video, I think it was, that was the other thing. I was like, no, girl, don't say that. So those are why he's mad. Watching the subways flood in NYC was terrifying to watch. You are right. You are so right on that, Mermaid. I lived up there for about 18 months, and I used to take the subway everywhere. This was like in 1980s, I get 80, 79, 80. And I can't imagine. That's always been one of my, that has always been one of my big fears. Using the subway in New York City, using the metro in DC, which I used to use every now and then. There have been a couple of incidences on the metro where the train stopped and the car filled with smoke and asthmatics died. I'm just going to come right out and say it. So that's always been one of my big terrors if I ever was riding in the subway or metro again. Here, the closest thing to a metro is a mule. There's lots of livestock. Everyone's business is her business, according to her. That is the problem. And she's not an ally. She's not an ally at all. An ally would not speak that way about somebody else's sexuality. She would not speculate publicly about the Duggars' sexuality. We used to speculate in private message about one of the Duggar boys' sexuality because there was evidence that he had gone away to the to one of the Pray the Gay Away camps a number of times. But never once, and all the time I wrote about the Duggars or spoke about the Duggars, did I reveal who that was, and never will I reveal publicly who that was. But Katie has made a ton of videos about him and some of his other brothers making that claim. So you can't try to out somebody's sexuality. I mean, she said stuff about Jenna Duggar too. So you can't try to out public figure sexuality and call yourself an ally. It just doesn't work that way. Either you respect everybody's boundaries and everybody's claims of what their sexuality is, or you don't. So there is that. And yeah, I just don't believe she's bi. She just wants the clicks, in my opinion. I don't think so either. I don't think so either. I've known a number of people that were bi, and all I can say is everybody is somewhere on that sliding scale between hetero and homo. Somewhere on that scale. A lot of people fall in the middle, or they may fall a little closer to one side to the other, but many people are on that spectrum, and it's just not right to speculate about any of them. That's really their business. So that is something I do hold against her, the constant lying about myself and others, and her Me Too movement stuff that she has told different stories about, and this saying that everybody is gay and then pretending to be a bi ally. That's just not right. And there's evidence about all of those things. There's copious evidence. Oh, mermaids, that would be so perfect. I love chick tracts. Especially, I was really sad because I lost my whole collection, and my other collection, a couple of them got wet. They are outrageously stupid. I just love them. You know, Jack Chick is dead now. He's been dead a while, but they still use those tracks. And there's so much racism and just all kinds of things. Scare everybody to Jesus is not the way to go. She thinks it's going to make more people like her. I don't know why. No one ever believes it. Imagine how hard it is to live a lie. It must be exhausting. Aaron, I agree. And that's what scares me about this. What scares me about making claims about Halloween ones. Here's what scares me about her claims about sexuality and especially the Duggars, but any kid in extreme religion. Oh, and did you see my Jill Rodriguez picture I used? I couldn't resist. It came from a Facebook group that makes some really funny memes. So they made a whiteboard, and I said, I'm going to use this. Why do I have this on my computer? I've never used it. So there it was. So if you make aspersions about people in that group's children, you have to realize that this is a group that will cut the child off, throw them out, throw them in the streets. I have nothing. Even if the child's living a lie, even if they actually are somewhere on the spectrum, by outing them that way, you're putting their very life at risk. You're putting them possibly on the street. You're putting them in some families that use corporal punishment. You're putting them behind the 8 ball. You're ensuring their homelessness, their poverty. You're ensuring any number of bad things might happen to them, because these are families that do not accept the fact that they may have family members that are on the spectrum of sexuality. They'll punish them for it. And by coming out and saying that, you're ensuring that they get severely punished. So I think that we should not ever publicly speak about other people's sexuality because of that, because A, it's a basic respect issue. B, if they're even slightly fundamentalist, you might be risking their very lives by saying that. Just looking, yeah, as an LGBTQ supporter, she offends me. She offends a lot of people over that. Speaking of Jill, there's a show on Discovery Plus called The Farmer Wants a Wife. Made me think of when Jill said her daughter wants to marry a farmer. Season 2 starring the Rodriguez. I mean, I wish it would. I would so watch that. Jill is so extra, she makes me laugh. Now, I don't like the fact that her children look like concentration camp survivors and they're always wearing ill-fitting clothing and ill-fitting shoes. That bothers me a lot, but I don't know what's going on there. I've said what I think is probably going on there, allegedly, but my personal opinion. But yeah, I would watch a show with Jill. She's pretty ridiculous. She's like, how can I describe this? She's kind of like the Rainbow Bright of the funny world because she's got all this makeup on. She does so many ridiculous things and tries to pretend they're normal. So there's that. What's into Camp Jana and the two boys have in mind? I have in mind. Mary, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if she has sent her kids there or not. Aboriginal communities from Northern Ontario, where I live, where I'm from, refer to it as having two-spirited. Yeah, that's a good name for it. Thanks for talking about the hard stuff. Mary, the hard stuff is the stuff that gets stuck in here. I mean, there are a lot of people that do sweetness and light, and that's great. It's great. People do recipes or other stuff, or even celebrity gossip. But that stuff does not interest me. It's this weird stuff that it always has, particularly after I came out of my crazy cult. And since I'm not monetizing this, I'm saying that word, I'm saying the C word, just like I'm saying COVID and that stuff, because it really is one of those weird things that just sticks with me. I thought when I stopped writing for NLQ, I was completely done with the subject, that everything that could be said had already been said, but obviously not, because everybody is as interested in it as I am. And I've got to say, the Gwen Shamlin death really shook me up. That was really strange. I thought I had no feelings towards that woman besides pity for the hairdo and disdain for the rest of her. But yeah, apparently there were some things. J-Rod is the most delusional and judging person I've ever seen. She is a hot mess, and I love every second of her hot messes. I laugh to see what they're all into. I laugh because she's always posting about her various makeup things and says that she's a hairdresser. I wouldn't let her touch my hair. Oh, thank you, Mermaid. I could use those. Two-spirited. I would think two-spirited would refer to somebody who is hypocritical. And God knows there are a ton of hypocrites out there in this world. What's the update with the children from the Gwen Church? I haven't heard a thing. I haven't heard a word. But I haven't looked. Like I said, I've been busy with my family, trying to see what kind of help I can do there. And I've been on the phone a lot with my friends. I had one girlfriend who's going through a really serious criminal probe of her husband that was awful, and they've dropped it, thank God. But the papers and the news stations in her town are still throwing shade at him, even though he's been cleared. So there's that. I've talked to her endlessly. I have another friend who's a widow that I've talked to quite a bit. She misses her husband. I knew her husband. So I hear from her on a very regular basis and talk to her for several hours at a time. That may be. Nash Dog Mom. That may be. I don't really know if that's what's going on with her or not. I would love to see paperwork on her diagnosis if somebody were to do a workup of her. What did Katie Joy do this time? I walk like Prairie. It's really stupid. She is claiming that I said that I met her in real life, and she's claiming she doesn't know who I am, even though I was kind of her go-to to whine to. So I'm about to go in a few minutes, and when I do, I'm going to put links to all of the. I put links to this, my personal blog, our conversations. The last conversation we had, I have them in 3 different parts because I've got Sherelle. There's a bunch of stuff on Steve. And I've already apologized to Steve. I said, Steve, I didn't know you. I just said what I always say when she would complain about people. Oh, that's too bad. Is that person crazy? I always said that stuff because I don't know. I'm just trying to survive the conversation and cut it off. And various other claims of people stalking her and stuff. This has been her go-to and all the time I've known her. When I first met her, when she first came on Patheos, she talked about death threats and stalking that happened from her withoutacrystalball.com blog. So this is a constant theme of hers. And I can prove it. Like I said, I have all this stuff. So she likes to say that today everybody's going to get served. Big whoopity, serve me. I've got all the paperwork. I've got everything. I saved a lot. So anyway, yeah, I hope that I can never talk about her again. I hope. I know I've said a bunch of stuff about her through the years. Well, through the last year. But it's kind of like vomiting. I don't like doing it. I know I'll feel better once I've stopped doing it. And that, just like I don't like to throw up that often, I don't like to talk about this that often. She's going to get hers. I'm just going to sit back from now on and try to stay as silent about her as possible because I don't think that all of our millions of streams about her are really helping anything, and they're not helping in the lawsuit. They're just proving her point that everybody is obsessed with her. Janine, yes. So there we go. You guys have a great day. As you can see, I'm still drinking my coffee. I'm still in my nightgown. I got up to this nonsense and said, I have got to address this right away because I've never once stated that I met her in real life at all. So she's lying.